Welcome to the Fresh Pack Natural Goodness series. We regularly need reassurance that we're making healthy choices for ourselves and for our families. Fortunately, with the natural goodness of Fresh Pack, you know you're doing just that. Dietary supplements are intended to provide us with the necessary nutrients that may otherwise not be consumed in sufficient quantities through the food we eat. But are there more natural options we can explore instead to support our diets? Joining us is dietitian Kelly Shreuder to tell us more. Welcome to the loft, Kelly.
Thanks for having me here,
Lovely to have you with us. Why do we need to take dietary supplements?
In an ideal world, we shouldn't need to take them. But in reality, there are certain circumstances where we might need to assist ourselves a little bit. So, for example, in phases of life, sometimes like pregnancy, for example, we would need a little bit more iron. And it can be difficult for some women to take in enough iron in that scenario. So, other scenarios where that might happen, if you're very stressed, your requirements for certain nutrients increase. So if you're not able to meet those increased requirements with your diet, a supplement can help.
Right. And what nutrients does the average person need to add to their diet to make sure that they have a well-balanced lifestyle?
Okay, so a healthy diet should contain all the nutrients that we need. So when we're thinking about nutrients, it's carbohydrates, proteins, fats is the big ones, so that you're getting enough energy from various sources. And then fiber is a big one, and water. In addition, you need lots of micronutrients, so things like the vitamins and minerals that are much harder to you can't see them. You don't know that you're eating vitamin C or iron or something. It's not that obvious to us. So those are the things that are sometimes a bit more challenging for us to get. A healthy diet does contain all of those things. So if you're eating lots of vegetables, sources of protein, sources of calcium like dairy, lots of different whole grains, a good variety of different foods, and you're not excluding any food groups, and you're eating regular meals, then you should be getting all of those things quite well. So if you're looking at supplements, unless you have a deficiency of something, it's very tricky to know what it is that you need unless you test for it.
Right. And can the use of supplements be avoided or lessened by making sure that you have a well-balanced lifestyle?
Of course it can. So just what I've said about, your diet can contribute all of those beautiful nutrients, that's fantastic. But then sometimes people like to take a multivitamin or certain supplements as kind of an insurance policy. So people are doing that quite often without testing for deficiencies. And that has, certain benefits possibly, but they're not really known to us. So that's why I say it's like an insurance policy. You're not really sure if you need it.
Right.
So the best way to know what you should be taking is really to go and get a check, like go to the doctor and get a blood test and see, are you worried about your iron levels? Is there a concern that you might be missing a certain nutrient? So before you go and take a whole lot of different tablets, you should really check out what's going on. And then also implement lifestyle changes. So you know how I said earlier where if you're stressed, you require more nutrients. If you're very busy, you require more nutrients. If you need a lot of energy in the day, you're needing lots of nutrients to generate all that energy and to do things. So if you are feeling that way and you're a little bit stretched, if you can control and manage your stress a little bit, that's one lifestyle measure. And then eating a good, balanced, healthy diet is my absolute passion, and it's very important to do. But if you're not able to do that, a supplement can be an insurance policy.
Now, what foods and beverages can we add to our diets that ensure that we're getting the nutrients we need?
All right, so the big one that none of us eat enough of are the vegetables. I'm always ranting about eating more vegetables, as you know. I can see you looking bored already at that comment, but really vegetables...
No, this is the lecture I give my kids every day, so no.
You can never eat enough vegetables.
This is the stop nice thing,
You can't overeat them. You will stop eating them before you overeat them. So really just try whenever you can to add something fresh to everything that you eat. And that's because they contain vitamins and minerals, but also antioxidants that are so important.
Right.
When you're looking at beverages, I don't generally like recommending that people consume a lot of the nutrients from beverages just because they're not as satisfying as food. So if you're concerned about weight management and you're drinking a lot of your meals, you won't be as satisfied by them, and you can eat more calories that way than you would if you just ate the food. So things like fruit juice, for example, can contain lots of antioxidants and vitamin C, but it's also a very concentrated source of sugar. So I generally say, eat your fruit and drink some water. And then if you're wanting to include something more, then herbal tea like rooibos is a really good addition. So because it contains antioxidants and it doesn't contain the caffeine that tea and coffee contain, like normal black tea and coffee. So it's a really nice alternative.
And how does adding rooibos to our daily food intake help us in getting the nutrients we all need?
So rooibos is a source of antioxidants, just like vegetables and fruit. So it's a very valuable source of those antioxidants, and you can drink lots of rooibos because it doesn't contain caffeine and sugar. So instead of water, it will contribute to your water intake. So it's a really good source of fluid. So, and apart from just the antioxidants, it does contain trace amounts of minerals. So I wouldn't say that it contains the same amount of minerals that, say, a glass of milk might contribute calcium. So it's not going to replace those good sources of, like, really big sources of nutrients, but it does contribute trace amounts of minerals.
Why is it important for us to take in antioxidants?
Antioxidants help to fight free radicals. And I read something lately that was so beautiful about free radicals. They're like the little bullies in our body. So they're mean and nasty, and they go around like fighting other cells and causing damage. And then they also like incite other cells to come and join them and become bullies as well. So that's a really funny way to look at it.
Sounds like a playground,
But those free radicals are produced by oxidation reactions in our body. So an antioxidant helps to prevent the formation of free radicals and kind of stops them from going and bullying the other kids. So it prevents the damage in your body. It prevents the damage that can cause things like cancer and Alzheimer's disease and heart disease and inflammation in our bodies. So antioxidants are pretty critical to get all day, every day.
You mentioned earlier that rooibos contains trace amounts of minerals. Why is it important for us to take in minerals?
Minerals, it's a broad term for lots of little things. So things like iron and calcium and zinc are all minerals. And those make up our body. So you have calcium in your bones, you have iron in your blood, you have zinc in so many enzymes in your body. So if you're not taking in minerals, your body can't make them themselves necessarily. So it's important to get good sources of those.
Awesome. So why is it generally advised to avoid beverages that have lots of sugar and caffeine?
Sugar and caffeine, I call them non-foods. So they're stimulants. So they will give you energy, and it might be a short-term boost of energy, which can feel really good. But it's not providing anything other than pure energy or a sort of artificial kind of energy, which you get from caffeine. It's like an adrenal response almost. So if you're getting through the day eating lots of sugar and drinking sugary beverages and drinking things that are full of caffeine, and even eating things that are full of caffeine, you can get all sorts of weird things on the shelves these days. So if you're getting through the day eating those things and you're not actually giving your body the nutrients that it needs to generate real energy ever, then your body will burn out. It can't sustain that kind of high-level energy on no nutrition. So, and that makes sense. You can't make a car drive on no fuel, so you can't expect your body to function optimally if you're not giving it all of the things that it needs.
Thank you so much for joining us, Gibby. It's always a pleasure. Freshpack Rooibos is all about choosing the healthy way. Whether you choose the classic range or the many flavoured or herbal options, such as soothing honey or calming chamomile, it's easy to enjoy all the beneficial antioxidants, no caffeine, and of course the natural goodness of Freshpack Rooibos. Until next week, keep yourself and your family happy, healthy, and enjoying life with the natural goodness of Freshpack Rooibos.